Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the podcast, The Endurance of Labor Laws. I'm your lovely host, Lesley Sullivan, and today is episode 167, and we are going to take a look at the Superfund Sites located in the state of South Dakota. But first of all, let me give a big shout out to my listeners because as usual, you guys are awesome. We love to see you here and online. Do check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We did add, I think like 15 or 18 videos the other day, so we are definitely uploading all this backlog that we have, and that's a good thing. So awesome there, do check it out. But let's see here, I want to give a big shout out to California, Oklahoma, Virginia, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, British Columbia, Illinois, Oregon, West Virginia, Indiana, Georgia, Ohio, Massachusetts, Florida, Alabama, District of Columbia, Colorado, Minnesota, Washington, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Kansas, North Carolina, Nevada, Maryland, Michigan, Iowa, New Brunswick, Louisiana, Manitoba, and Connecticut. In terms of countries, Uzbekistan, Japan, Denmark, Slovakia, South Africa, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, the Russian Federation, Canada, and the lovely United States. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping here. So things that are celebrated on November 16th are the following. It is National Button Day. It is International Check Your Wipers Day. That's always good. Let's see, it's also National Fast Food Day, National Indiana Day, and this one I did not know about as well. It's National Educational Support Professionals Day. I just wonder if that's just kind of basically people patting themselves on the back for working in the educational field. So I'm not really sure if that's a good thing or not. I do support our teachers, but I do know that sometimes teachers, especially in public school systems, ones that they teach grades 12 and lower, they tend to have a very overinflated ego, and they tend to think that they're going to make as much as an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, and that's just not going to happen with a teacher's salary. So needless to say, if you are a teacher and you're listening to this podcast and you want to make more money, that's great, go for it, but it's not going to happen in the job that you're currently doing. So if you want to continue to do some type of educational profession and you want to make more money, then you need to do data and research and development, maybe like for a university or something. Instead of working for a public school that teaches minors or kids or whatever, go work at a university. Partner up with a department that is studying something that you truly believe in and something that you want to see change or improve. I think that's absolutely wonderful. There were so many teachers that I had in Oklahoma, because that's where I was raised, and I went to public schools. I did not attend any private schools whatsoever, not for any negative or good reasons, but it's just what it is. And so I cannot tell you how many times I had great teachers in the public school system. There were some bad ones, but there were some that we had, when you meet them and you hear them and they're teaching, you just think, what are they doing in a small town in Oklahoma when they could easily be teaching at a university? And they could be doing so much more because they're so talented. But I always tried to take extra care to do even better in those classes because I really wanted to learn as much as I possibly could from someone that I knew was amazingly talented. Like they were not your average public school teacher. So I always loved having those teachers because I learned so much from them. So by all means, if you do not like your job, or you want to make more money and you are a teacher, do something else with your life. There's so many things that you can do. And, I want to say this as well. There's so many people that work in the educational field and they all want to be administrators, but no one wants to do the grunt work of actually teaching kids. That's an ego problem. We've seen that in public school systems. I have not seen that very much in private school systems per se. But this is also a problem in the nursing field. There are so many nurses that want to play doctor, and they're not a doctor. I don't think nurses should be able to write prescriptions. I just don't think that's right because they've never been to medical school. And so that's very much a conflict of interest, I personally think, that we're having nurses write prescriptions, but yet they've never been to medical school, they've never even been to DO school, nothing like that. They just went to nursing school. Yes, that is an amazing career, but a lot of them, a lot of these nurses, and I'm not just saying this from my own point of view, I've met some people like this, but I've also met people that are way older than me, and they have worked in a nursing field for 3 or 4 decades or something. And they have noticed a very dangerous trend that a lot of these young people that are going into the nursing industry or the nursing field, they're made all these promises that they're gonna make all this money, and that they should just be an administrator. But yet, when it comes down to it, nurses, they do need to be in hospitals, and who's going to help the patient get out of bed? Who's going to help change the bedpan? Who's going to help set up an IV? There are so many jobs that need to be done that are done by nurses, but a lot of these nurses or a lot of these kids or, younger people than me, that go to school, they're just fed all this bull that, if you go to nursing school, everybody's going to be a case manager, everybody's going to be able to write a prescription, everybody's going to be an administrator. Everybody wants to be in charge, but nobody actually wants to do the grunt work. And I've heard this complaint from patients and from nurses that have been a nurse for years, and they're like, what is wrong with this? Not everybody can be in charge of the floor. But that's the common trend that's going on right now. It is a very much a common trend that is also going on in the teaching field. There are all these teachers, especially young ones, I think in their early or mid-20s, they think that they should make a whole lot of money and not even show up to work. And here's the thing. Teachers, they don't even work a traditional job. They don't work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, come snow, rain, shine, whatever the case may be. Teachers get, a lot of breaks. There's summer break, spring break, fall break, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break. So they're not even doing full-time work, but yet they're getting paid a full-time salary. That is stealing from the taxpayer. But yet, there are so many teachers that they don't even want to show up to work. An example of this, I think there was not a union riot, but a union strike. I think it was in Chicago. It was right around the beginning of either this school year or last year. I forget which one because I'm not in the educational field, not by any means, but there was a walkout of all these teachers, I think, in Chicago. And so these students, they had no teachers to teach them. And then the parents were like, what are we going to do? We have jobs. And we're not even sure if daycare can be set up for all these kids. That is unbelievably rude and inconsiderate and also very greedy of these teachers to do that. But they did that within their labor union. So it's punish everybody else, just for the sake of the few that don't want to work full time, but yet they want the money and they want more money. You know what it reminds me of? And I'll say this before I actually start on this topic here of the Superfund Sites in South Dakota. What these teachers remind me of is they remind me of a lot of employees over in Greece. Greece is a bankrupt country for a reason. The only way they are able to stay afloat is because of their tourism and hospitality industry. If it wasn't for people, usually Americans, visiting Greece all the time, Greece would have been flat out broke, way long time ago, and they would not have any type of currency whatsoever to keep them afloat. But you see, there's a very common trend over in Greece where a lot of their workers over there, they get paid full-time salary but work part-time positions. That's the hours that they work. And the way that they get away with it is they have all these stupid feast days. I think they're Greek Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox, whatever it is. Yes, it is important to celebrate your faith. But to celebrate your faith doesn't mean that you get to steal from your employer in terms of wages. You shouldn't be a thief at all. But what these people do over there, they use religion as a way to not show up to work, take off all these days, for a so-called feast day. Oh, I can't work at all. Really? Well, do you go to a restaurant and order food? Then obviously you can work. So, I just think that is such a stupid thing to be happening because Greece has the potential to be an amazing country, but it has never been an amazing country because of their lack of work, their lack of ethics, and just their lack of professionalism. They're lazy. They want the money, but they don't want to do the work. And another thing about Greece, they have a horrible tax code. In fact, it's worse than what we have here in the United States. Surprisingly, they have high taxes, and then people, they want to make a lot of money, but they don't want to show up to work. No wonder their country sucks. No wonder their currency is weak. No wonder they have a higher than normal rate of unemployment or people being poor. Greece is not known, just think about it, they're not known for capitalism. They're not known for democracy. They're not known for being a republic. They're not known for having good hospitals. They're not known for having great health care. They're not known for having a long life expectancy. They're not known for having it good. All they're known for is their tourism and hospitality. Well, not everybody can work in that industry. It's ridiculous. And also, Greece, they're not known for their universities or their research and development. Like, I can't think of a single drug off of the top of my head that has been developed in Greece and it's the be-all, end-all. The only country that I can think of off the top of my head that does amazing work with research and development in regards to the medical field is going to be Israel. And then there is also Germany. Germany has great medicines that get produced over there, that are invented over there. Those are the only two I can think of. Pretty much all the other countries suck at what they do in terms of research and development because they just don't produce a lot. And also, they're socialist. Israel's not, but, it's very difficult to have prosperity in socialist countries. Like, it's virtually non-existent. I think the only reason why Germany does so well, for Germany, that is because they have a lot of foreigners that live there and work there. But if it wasn't for the foreigners that lived there and worked there, especially internationally, Germany would have been broke a long time ago, and they would have stayed broke after World War I and World War II. But Germany had international help and assistance to get them back up and being a good, productive country. It took some time, but the German people did not do that on their own. They had nothing. They lost everything and had nothing because of their stupidity, unfortunately. Thinking that small little country, Germany, could take over the entire planet and annihilate a human race, at least try to, twice. At least one segment of the population. It's stupid and ridiculous. The United States is number one for a reason. And I'm not just saying this for pro-America. I'm saying that, look, the facts are the facts. The United States is capitalist. We're very conservative overall. We have a constitution. We are a Republican. I wish we were all Republicans. We are a republic and we are a democracy. That's why we have so many inventions here and so many innovations, especially in the medical field. But what will always hinder us are the crazy thinkings and doings of labor unions, trade unions, socialists, progressives, and liberals, because they do not understand the economy. They do not truly understand the workforce, because if they did, they would never do anything to hinder it. Never. But unfortunately, all those groups I just mentioned, they very much behave like Greece, which is really sad, because the last thing you want to act like is someone that's Greek. Way back in the day, hundreds, if not well over 1,000 years ago, it would have been a good thing to be Greek, because Greeks used to be philosophers. They were known for being very educated. They were some of the best physicians way back in the day, especially when Greeks were slaves to the Romans. Of course, that goes back a long time, but it was considered a thing to be a Roman emperor and to have a Greek physician because they were the best. They truly were. Are they still that way? No. Their health care is subpar for a reason. The only thing that's great about Greece are their yachts and their beaches. Other than that, they got nothing. So, needless to say, let's go ahead and dive into this lovely topic of the Superfund sites located in South Dakota. And they don't have very many. They only have 2 that are current and active, and then they have 2 that have been cleaned up and good to go. Okay, so let's see here. The first one that is current and active is Gilt Edge Mine. It is located in Lawrence County. The population there is 25,768. The issue with this one is they have sulfide waste rock that are exposed to ore zones that contain heavy metals, including arsenic, cadmium, chromium, copper, lead, nickel, silver, and zinc. These heavy metals, in addition to cobalt and manganese, not good, have been found in Strawberry Creek. They have elevated nitrates and sulfates that are also present in, leap residues or something, like these large amounts of it. So this one was added to the list in the year 2000. So that means that this is a problem well before the year 2000. So they identified it and then they added it to the list. The next one that is current and active in South Dakota is Ellsworth Air Force Base. It is located in 2 different counties. The first county is Meade County. The population there is 29,852. The second county is Pennington County, and the population there is 109,222 people living in that area. The issue with this one is that they have on-site shallow monitoring wells, that are down gradient from the landfills. Oh, that's terrible. And burn pits are contaminated with dichloroethane and it's ethane and then ethylene and then trichloroethylene and then arsenic and chromium. Some really bad stuff. Not good. This one was added to the list in 1990. Now they do have two that have been cleaned up and good to go, so that's some good news here. The first one was called Whitewood Creek. It was located in Lawrence County, and that one had problems with arsenic, cadmium, copper, silver, mercury, and cyanide that contaminated the soil, as well as the groundwater and the surface water, so a big issue there. And that one was cleaned up and good to go as of 1996. The next and last one that is cleaned up and good to go is Williams Pipeline Company Disposal Pit. It was located, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but Minnehaha, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It sounds made up, but it is what it is. That is the county. And so the issue with this one was they had sediment in the 7-foot deep unlined pit. That's a mistake, an unlined pit. And so they had issues with barium, beryllium, chromium, copper, iron, lead, zinc, benzene, toluene, xylene, polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, oh this is fun, and pesticides. And of course the groundwater nearby is going to be contaminated with several things there, but that one was cleaned up and good to go as of 1999. So South Dakota is doing really good. They only have two that are current and active. Let me close with this. South Dakota does not have, it is not a heavily populated state, so they have that going for them. Also, they are not as small as New Hampshire or, trying to think, like Rhode Island. I would say they are a medium-sized state. I would compare them to probably the size of Kansas. I haven't looked at a map lately, so I don't know which state is bigger, but my point is this. They are not a teeny tiny state, but they are also not heavily populated. However, these two Superfund sites are still very much a problem, because even though they are not located near a population that, let's say, is like 500,000 or more, it is still a concern because, there are many people that travel through South Dakota. They do work up there. And so what's sad is that when people go to an area and they don't know that they are driving through or driving near a Superfund site, so they don't know that they could be, exposed to something that is very toxic and hazardous to their health. That's where this gets to be an issue. So even though South Dakota is doing really good, they only have two Superfund sites, that's great, and they are not heavily populated. I know people that travel all across the United States, and sometimes they go to these less populated states, maybe for the summer or for a family vacation. Not everybody goes to Florida or California or New York. Some people, they just like to, take the unbeaten path, as they say. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't know about this stuff. They don't know about these Superfund sites. And so I truly hope and pray that the EPA, gets on the ball with this, because there's one that goes back to 1990. So, that's a long time for something to be sitting there and be causing a problem. And this one, there's drainage, that is coming down, to a normal area, but it's coming from a landfill and a burn pit. So here's the thing, if that's not cleaned up and good to go, then that means that problem is going to continue to exist and continue to cause a problem to the environment, which very much endangers human beings, livestock, and basically the planet in general. So let's get this stuff cleaned up, because it's not good to have. But I will go ahead and end this podcast. But as usual, until next time, I pray that you're happy, healthy, and whole, that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Thank you so much. God bless, and bye-bye.